Actually, Mr. Hadden, we talked about this a little bit in Palau when I was over there. You know, it's quite difficult to engage young people or to get them to be interested in these activities. You know, what are your thoughts on how things have been so far with respect to this question? Sorry to put you on the spot there.
Yeah. No, actually, so I guess it really depends on what, you know, the activity that you're doing, because I noticed that when you guys came down and you really went out, reached out to the youth and talked to them about these activities, told them like what they entail, and sort of gave them like a bit of training, especially for example, the synergy. They were excited. It was actually my first time to see our young people participate in something like that, and they all did really well. I actually know two of the speakers who I think they placed second and third in the synergy contest, and you know they did really well, and all the other students and youth who attended were really excited. And I guess it really depends on the activity that you're doing, and really reaching out to them, you know, and getting them interested in what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, because for me it seemed as well that you know, like upon just talking about it, it was a little bit of excitement, but not so much kind of, you know, like they're just like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. But then when they're actually there, you know, when people are actually present at these events, when they're actually engaged fully, you know, that's when you see their eyes light up, and you know, this kind of level of excitement. And I mean, that's kind of what we're hoping to do here with our activities in YSP, and hopefully with this webinar as well, we can be able to start that kind of conversation. Do we have any comments or further kind of parts from any of our other panelists or other guest speakers from today? What is your take on youth engagement? You know, what's one way that you feel we could actually be able to engage our youth and get them to be more interested in talking about these sorts of things? Yes, Ernestina?
Yes, Brother Amon, I just wanted to add on to, just double checking, can everyone hear?
Yeah.
Great. I just want to add on that social media plays a huge factor as to how everyone is connected along with our youth, but also now we're communicating virtually in some countries and in some of our communities. So I think just to add on to what Hadden was saying, we can do things online, and that's what we've been doing along with radio from my perspective. And I think we can connect with youth from a virtual perspective, but also staying engaged with them on social media platforms, just via Instagram, Twitter. Everyone's connected on TikTok, so you can still send messages and still advocate to our youth while using social media platforms. And I'd love to connect with some of you all from different countries as well, to stay connected via radio, which is my main source that I use to connect with our youth. And it'll be great to get more from the communities overseas as well, because we're just based around our Pacific nations, but it'll be great to get more of a diverse range of our stories out and more outside perspective. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tina. Yeah, I mean, especially with you know, the coming age, you know, with young people, social media is everything. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of behind because I barely know how to use Facebook and YouTube and stuff. But you know, it's definitely an important tool to be looked at moving forward. So actually, we have another question from one of our panel participants. Sorry. How can we sustain the local youth activities with the goal to come together regionally in our area? So maybe I can put that question forward to some of our YSP representatives. Perhaps Daniel, would you like to share some insights on that question? I'll just repeat it for you again. How can we sustain the local youth activities with the goal to come together regionally in our area? Could give you a couple minutes to think about it, or if Mr. Shaad, if you have.
I didn't hear, Amon. You cut out there.
I cut out. Oh, okay, sorry. So, how can we sustain the local youth activities with the goal to come together regionally in our area?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Yeah. So, sustaining youth activities in our region is, I think it takes, once youth, again, like referring back to Palau, which you know, Mr. Hadden and yourself spoke about, is what we saw, what I saw there that was really inspiring is that these students, as you said, they weren't, when we spoke to them about it, they weren't that inspired initially, but once they got together and started doing it, then they were on fire. And as Hadden said at the end of it, like, you know, they were saying that was, you know, that was some of the best workshops that I've ever been to. I'm still in contact with at least one other young man from Palau who keeps, you know, saying to me, "Oh, when are you guys going to come back?" You know, this kind of thing. So I think that once the youth get a taste of it, once they start to see, this is, you know, I actually do have a lot of ability and I do have a lot to offer to my community and my nation, then I think that's where the drive will come, the passion of the youth. So that's why I feel a lot of hope in Oceania, because I haven't been to every nation yet, hopefully will, but the ones that I've been to, they've got a lot of young people who have so much talent and so much ability, but just don't have anything, you know, to focus it on, to really, you know, keep the drive happening. So that's perhaps what I really hope with YSP, to really allow these young people to take a lot of responsibility, a lot of ownership, and really flourish as young people in Oceania. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Daniel, for that insight. You know, it's really important that we actually let young people feel that they do have a say and have an ability to make a difference. Mr. Shaad, do you have anything that you'd like to add on to that? You know, in terms of what activities that you have in mind for perhaps YSP in Fiji?
Hi, I think just to add on to what Daniel was saying about having youth take ownership. What we did last year for UN Youth Day, we tried organizing 2 programs. One was a volleyball competition for regional students. So like we had the 14 member countries I was talking about, we had a team from each member country come in and participate. And then we had this cultural night where we asked each cultural group to, you know, exhibit the culture of the nation. So they did it through dance, through songs, through plays, etc. And so when we have something like that, it's easier to get the youth going. And then in our cultural night, we had a speech which was delivered by Yutaka-san, and through that, the youth here felt that I don't know, they were really empowered by his speech, right? And then we had a gap. We had a gap for I think about 9-10 months. Part of it was due to the COVID situation as well. And then this year, when we're trying to organize things for our character building programs and the Peace Designer program, it's a bit more difficult to get in touch with them or get them to get back on track with what we're trying to do. So I think consistency is also a big part in getting them to, you know, actively keep participating. Because as soon as there's a drop in communication or you know, there's a lack of events, they sort of fade away and go back into their shells, and it's difficult to get them out again. But if there's consistently programs going on or seminars happening, etc., like they feel that they're more involved, yeah, and it's easier to carry on, yeah. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaad. Yeah, that's a really good point, continuous engagement. And that's something that perhaps we need to work on here at YSP Oceania, but that's definitely something that we really want to achieve moving forward. And hopefully with the help of everyone here, we can be able to do that. Do we have any further comments from any of our regional and international leaders, whether President Matsuda, Professor Jalipa, or even Mr. Yamada, if you have anything you'd like to add to what's been put on the table so far?
Just a short comment from me. Yeah, I really am happy that we're able to convene this time. So with regards to the sustainability, talking about sustainability, yeah, it's very important that in order to sustain our youth activities, we have to empower the young people. The reason why youth activities cannot be sustained is because it's more like the relationship between the organizers and the and the participants are like more like onlooker, kind of onlooker system. So we, the organizers come and kind of create something, and then when they're gone, and then somehow doesn't settle down, it slowly dissipates, disappear, and eventually forget it. So that's why it's very important that we focus on the mission of the IAYSP. The mission is very clear that our goal is to empower the youth and the students, and to empower them not only to do something for their own local activities, but to empower them with the hope that their perspective will change. They will become not only a citizen of their country, not only as as Oceania, citizen of Oceania or something like that, but as a global citizen, as an earthling, as a human being, because nowadays we're talking about climate. Climate doesn't affect only one country or one region. Climate is a global. So to solve the problem of global climate, that we need global citizens to act on it. And especially for Oceania, this is a key region in the Pacific, and protecting the ocean, and as well as I really love. I'm really inspired with Palau. I'm really inspired, honestly, when I arrived in Palau, and then in the visa form, in the visa stamp, it's there. How to preserve the nature. It really emphasize the environment, and I really love how the government of Palau, puts a lot of emphasis and love for nature, something like this. And so I really appreciate it. And yeah, so we want also that this kind of wave or this kind of mindset will not be only in one country or one region, but become eventually global. Kind of should be natural, should be natural. Should start. That's why it's very important that in IAYSP we focus in character education, because it should start from the heart. Young people should be transformed in their character, and they start to take ownership, and they start to settle, down to all their activities, their projects, and especially supporting the United Nations. These projects supporting the United Nations, because in the SDG, we cannot achieve SDG by only political means. We need grassroots, we need people to take responsibility in their own communities and throughout the world. Based on our, studies so far and research, if the world has no human beings, there won't be any problem. So humans are the creators of problems, and I believe, and I have this belief that human beings, if they are educated with centering on the character, if they have the character education, I believe that human beings can transform and turn around, and instead of becoming a problem, can start to become a solution. And naturally, I believe that with character education, the whole Oceania region can unite and can participate and collaborate and can work together. You know, we can break through barriers and we can break through, you know, all this kind of, now in America, we're facing racial problem, this kind of black and white and this and all this issue of colors and whatnot, or maybe social classes, you know, these are all, you know, symptoms of a, you know, lack of character education. So I, you know, yes, I really want to go back to our IAA YSP mission statement that we want to empower young people through character education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Richell, once again for further comments and really emphasizing the key points of what why we are gathered here today. So thank you all once again for coming. Thank you so much for all of your time, for all of the speakers, for all of the people who are present here this afternoon. And yeah, on behalf of the team at YSP Oceania, we hope to see you next time, and we wish you all a lovely rest of your weekend. Thank you and God bless.
Stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Amon. Thank you, team.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.